this is Cheryl Merrill, and it's Saturday evening on February 29th, the last day of February, leap year 2020, and I wanted to report on my trying to piece together a missing persons project that I'm working on. I first heard about it on this podcast called Thin Air. They haven't been posting for a year. I don't know if they're still working on their missing persons program, if they're just gathering new cases or what they're doing, but they haven't posted in a year. And their podcast, though I think it was very well done and very well put together, was not considered a wild success, I guess, and maybe they've abandoned it. I don't know. I think they should keep with it, though. I really do. I think that there's a market out there for missing persons, especially those with Alzheimer's who people can't find for a long time sometimes. And I'm interested in missing persons cases for San Francisco in particular because there was one case I noticed, besides the other case of my former classmate and tutor in junior high school who got lost from Alzheimer's in Los Angeles and was found up in Fossil Park next to Sherman Oaks, and it was after a fire and her bones were found. So she tragically, lost her life when she got an early case of Alzheimer's, and she just walked and walked and walked, apparently. But they're going to have a documentary on her, an award-winning documentary, film festivals for Cinquest on March 8th, 2020 in Redwood City. They're going to show it. I'm not going, but I'm hoping I can purchase the documentary on this woman who I went to Margate Intermediate School with in Palos Verdes, California, and as well went to the high school. I never saw her in high school because she was way ahead of me in, classes, and so she wasn't in any of my classes. So she was a great student and everything, so she really stood out. She's a good person to consider how this could happen to somebody who was just so accomplished, And that's why her story stands up a lot, because she was very, very intelligent and she had a good memory. And this disease, Alzheimer's, robbed her of her memory, and she was reduced to the capacity of a 5-year-old at the age of around 55. So anyway, they want to try to get this Alzheimer's wandering, lost people under control, and they did a documentary on it. And I happened to notice they also had a podcast about her on Thin Air, and that's where I heard about Thin Air. It's about people who just go missing. They just, in thin air. And they're never found, and they go for years and years and years being lost and not found. I went through, there's another website that's a data bank for missing persons, and I noticed the pattern is that there's very few cases where people are changing their identity and they just decide they want to be somebody else and escape whatever the life they're living. It's very rare. So when I came across this, there's a couple cases I have here in San Francisco I'm working on. One, I believe I spoke with the man, and the other, and that man had a psychotic break at the Fairmont Hotel in my area where I was still living here back then when he was completely missing. And I think I spoke with him in 2014, and he was just a lost soul, and he was crazy, yelling out here. And it looks a lot like him in the picture. The only problem is I don't recall him being as tall as, a 6-foot person. I don't recall him being tall, so it may not be him, but it sure did look like him. I mean, blue eyes, the blonde hair, and he's walking around in this jester outfit, colorful silk jester outfit, and he's just being crazy. And, the man had a lot of problems because of bipolar, illness. And so he had a history of outbursts and being crazy. So I really think that I met him and I spoke with him. He was having an argument with the bellman at the Huntington Hotel. He's had a similar problem at the Fairmont, arguments with hotel staff at the Fairmont. They kicked him out from the Tiki Bar. I think it's called the Tiki Bar. The Tonga bar there. It's a infamous place. Everyone loves to go. It's kind of a piece of crap bar in reality, but people like to go there. I don't know why. There's a long line for it. I went to the gym there for a while, and we were always amazed and laughing at the people who were in line to go to this crappy little tiki bar. We couldn't understand why. It was just a crappy little bar. I guess it has history or something, and people like going there. But he was kicked out of that bar one night, and he was here from San Diego. He was picking up some vaping medical marijuana pens for his business, and he had apparently a psychotic break, and he forgot. He doesn't know who he is. When I spoke with him, he didn't know who he was, and I could tell that that he was a lost soul. He didn't know who he was, and he was acting crazy, and But they can fall through the cracks and just get lost, and people help them out because that guy's kind of good looking, And so he came right up to my face. I spoke with him, but he's very combative. At first he was really nice, but then I brought up Jesus and he was combative. I really do believe I spoke with him, but like I say, I don't remember a 6-foot man. But I may have had my boots on, and maybe it was tall. Maybe I was like 5'7" or something, and he didn't have any shoes on that day, so it made me look like almost the same height, 4 feet less than what he was, or something. 4 inches less. So maybe that's why, because I was wearing boots or something. But anyway, that's a long time ago, and he's probably still alive, and he's quite capable of taking care of himself. He's got street smarts. From what I could tell, his name is Remmer, Christopher Remmer, I think. Yeah, I think that he's still alive. I really do. He had a will to live, and he wanted to be with the homeless artistic culture here, and I think he's just forgot who he is, and he's doing fine. He's smart. So anyway, I wouldn't worry about him if I were his family. I just think that he doesn't know who he is. He had some kind of psychotic break. This other person, though, his name is Stephen Alan Davis, and he went missing in 1986. He just disappeared after leaving his job at Chevron. He was supposed to go to a Halloween party, and he just disappeared into thin air. Never been seen or heard from since. But the thing is that I thought that his family brushed this aside too casually, was that he was hinting that he wanted to disappear, and there was talk from him to somebody about getting a social security number to change his name and identity. And I believe what happened is he's a really good-looking guy, and people would say, you should be a model, He had blue eyes, black hair, and he also was involved in the performing arts because his sister was an opening performer, a musician and songwriter for some major rock and roll bands he went on tour with. So he's interested in the arts and things, and he wrote songs, and she tried to help him with recording stuff. I think he got very frustrated with it, being in her shadow. I really do. I think that that's the psychology behind why he took someone's offer to start a new life and go down the creative path the way he wanted to, and someone is supporting him because he's so good looking. And my suspicion is that he was a closet gay at the time in 1986, and he came out of the closet. Some man lured him into a new life in the United Kingdom. But there's a little problem with this theory. The United Kingdom, I'm not saying necessarily the United Kingdom, but I thought was a good lead that this could be him as an actor in the United Kingdom. And I focused in on this actor who was in this I Shouldn't Be Alive episode called Climb Out of Hell. He did an amazing performance in this, and people were saying it's Oscar-level performance in this I Shouldn't Be Alive from 2011. It's now on the Wonder Channel. They bought the rights from Discovery Channel, and now it's called the Wonder Channel on YouTube. And it's I took a look at this picture of Stephen Allen Davis, and they look very similar, very, very similar. There's two pictures I have, and both pictures look like replicas of this guy. The only problem is, of this actor, the only problem is there seems to be an age problem. There just a little problem. The first movie that this actor did was called Dead Are Alive or something like that. The Dead Living or something like that. And then he did I Shouldn't Be Alive. And I just thought, wow, what an incredible match that would be, like a puzzle being put together of the names of these movies, because this guy's imagined to be dead. He's been legally declared dead because no one knows where he is. But I think that he changed his identity and wanted to get out of the being under the shadows of the successful sister he felt humiliated by her success. Guys have an ego. They need their egos stroked. And to have your sister being more successful than you as a guy is very humiliating. So I think that that's what really drove him to accept some offer for his good looks. Someone wanted to give him a career. And so the only problem with that is the age, okay? Because it was in 1986, and he was 23 back then. So this I Shouldn't Be Alive actor looked like he's in his, at the latest, mid-30s at the latest. And no, he would have been, Stephen Allen Davis would have been 48 or 49 at the time he was shooting this documentary. So he doesn't look like a 48-year-old. I was just thinking, had the age been right, I think it would have been amazing, because the name and the titles of these documentaries, and it's like the guy's coming out of his prepping to be a successful actor, and he's becoming well known, but he's living in the UK, hoping no one in the US will recognize him. I thought, what a perfect match that would be for my first discovery and finding somebody who was missing for so long. I thought that would have been so perfect. Unfortunately, I really don't think it's the same person, because, like I say, the age just seems too far off. They're like at least 20 years apart in age. So I'm really disappointed that it's not him, because they sure do look alike. They sure do look alike, and the guy's acting is spot on with the nature of how that man disappeared in San Francisco and how people think he's dead now. And so now all of a sudden, I, as a new researcher coming on board, discover that he's in the UK. As an actor, he has a new identity, and he played in this documentary called I Shouldn't Be Alive. And in I Shouldn't Be Alive, it's called Climbing Out of Hell. The Climb Out of Hell. And so how perfect is that? That's a great debut for his new acting career with a new identity. And I just thought how masterful that would have been if God had led me to discover where this man is, and everyone would have been happy. He's a successful actor. He's made it, and here he is. And, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. Like I say, unless there's something I don't understand about his age, maybe they made him look younger than he is, in that, because he had to look a certain age to portray the man who actually, this is a real life story, the man who actually had to climb out of a terrible injury situation off a cliff. And it was a miraculous story. And so unless they were able to make Jeremy Joyce look a lot younger than he really is, then maybe it is him. But I really don't think it's possible to reduce a 48-year-old to look like a 35-year-old. I don't think that's possible. Maybe I'm wrong, but the guy didn't have any wrinkles. Usually at that age, at 48, you have some wrinkles, So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I really am like piecing together things, but that didn't fit quite well because of the age. And had that been true, I would have been so happy to discover, oh my gosh, this guy really did change his identity. And he's this actor in the UK. And, he's probably living with some guy who has been helping him develop his talents as an actor. And he's been in hiding, just developing his talents all these years. And here he's coming up as an actor and a director. And he did this directing of this surfing movie in San Diego. And, so I just wish that it was a match. How I wish that it was a match. So they'd have a good ending to it. The family could have a good ending. Look how successful he is. Unfortunately, I don't, maybe it is true. I don't know. I'm just saying that they certainly look a lot alike from the pictures that I've seen of both of them, or the pictures I've seen of the missing person. They look a lot alike. The nose, the lips, the eyebrows, the color of the eyes. They're both blue eyes. It's just amazing how familiar they look to each other. So sometimes the devil likes to play these horrible, cruel jokes on people. I hope that my revealing this doesn't depress anybody who knew him, but I just thought how perfect that would have been had that been the match that I was looking for. I didn't, look too hard or anything. It just I recently saw that documentary. And then I realized the picture on Thin Air looks a lot like that actor. And then I started doing a little research and putting two together. To me, I believe the man, Stephen Davis, is alive because he hinted to his mother. He said to her, what would you feel like if I disappeared one day? Okay, and then other talk he had was trying to get a new social security number for a new identity. I don't think they should think he's dead. I think he gave plenty of heads up that he was going to, hints and everything that he was going to leave, get a new identity. And I don't mean to commit defamation or anything in suggesting that he may have been a closet gay man, but usually that's part of the reason why he would want a new life, is to just establish a new identity. Maybe he felt like he was just too overpowered by his sister and just needed to reestablish who he was, go off on his own. And some friend offered him an opportunity to do that because of his good looks. He would say that, people would stop him in San Francisco and say, wow, he turned heads, and I'm sure that he got offers, all kinds of offers. When you're that good looking in San Francisco, people are going to offer you opportunities to get out of working for your mail boy job, at Chevron. They're going to offer you opportunities and say, you deserve better than this, and I'm going to train you to be an actor, and we're going to go over to the UK. I just think that that's that scenario that is possible. I really don't think he's dead. I really don't think that his family should think he's dead. Even if he left the money in the bank, I'm sure that whoever he left with had plenty of money. They're always looking for good-looking guys here in San Francisco. The men who come here, they're looking for good. I really don't think he's dead. So anyway, just like this other guy, Christopher Remmer, he's not dead. He's not dead at all. So these are a couple of unusual circumstances. And I just thought I'd explain what I noted, and I'll put the link to the video in the description.